from the station working for you. This is WRTV News at 6, streaming now.
Really, it's just, I'm kind of taking things literally day by day, just surviving the best I can.
About 250,000 Hoosiers are at risk of being evicted. Working for you, we show you the steps one man is taking to keep his rental assistance and what that could mean for you. Grim news, a local economist says some jobs lost during the pandemic may never come back. What's next for our local economy and the job market?
Over the last year, we've seen about a 62% drop compared to the year prior.
A major decrease in sales for vendors in the Indianapolis city market. We take a look at what is being done to help these small business owners survive.
Where and when snow is most likely during the day tomorrow.
Good evening and welcome into the news at 6. I'm Amanda Starrentino. Mark Mullins has the night off. First tonight, keeping jobs and enough income to pay rent and mortgages has been a struggle for many Hoosiers. About 250,000 people in Indiana actually are behind on rent and at risk of eviction because of the pandemic. WRTV's Stephanie Wade has been covering this issue for us throughout the year and follows one man through the steps of keeping access to rental assistance.
I lost both my jobs actually just because crowds couldn't gather and there are no fans.
Derek Smith Jr. works in the sports industry. He's worked for the Pacers, Colts, and more, both as a concessionaire and on the media side.
It's just been a hard transition just to really find work in the field because then it's like, I hear a lot of people say, well, if you don't like those options, you shouldn't have chose those jobs. But I chose this job because I love what I do. I didn't think the whole world would, literally stop.
He applied and received rental assistance through the city's Indy Rent program. That helped, but didn't last long as he was later hit with an eviction notice. So he called the Indiana 211 for help.
They directed me to a list and I just started making my calls and kind of, crossing my fingers, hoping I could find someone to just, help me out because I've never honestly been in a situation. Usually I don't have the wherewithal to, keep a job and, have most of my bills paid.
The Neighborhood Christian Legal Clinic was one resource that helped keep him in his home. They informed him of the CDC national moratorium on evictions in place that was also recently extended last week by President Biden through the end of March.
So really, that's the only reason why I even have a roof over my head now is that order. Like, I honestly wouldn't even know where I'd be.
Trying to keep the lights on.
Jobs are calling fast enough, even temp jobs, and I've exhausted the options that they said to exhaust.
Indiana is set to receive $448 million for rent and utility assistance in the latest congressional COVID-19 package. Smith is hopeful that money will soon get in the hands of people who really need it.
People are going through stuff they probably never gone through before. People have had to ask for help and ask for food and child care. So I got 3 kids of myself. I guarantee you no lawmaker is dealing with what I'm dealing with. I guarantee you no lawmakers having to call food kitchens to, figure out when they're giving food away.
Stephanie Wade, WRTV.
The city of Indianapolis has received nearly $29 million in federal funds for rental assistance. Leaders expect to bring a fiscal ordinance before the City County Council for approval next Monday that will deploy those dollars. The city also said in a statement to WRTV, quote, "We are heartened by the expansion of federal rental assistance dollars to better meet a need that we know has not gone away. We anticipate adapting the existing framework developed by the city to administer additional funds according to federal guidelines."
Seeing very different experiences between workers who can work at home, as you can see I am, or workers who are in protected industries that were less dramatically affected by COVID, and those whose livelihoods essentially disappear.
Some jobs may never come back. Indiana's December unemployment report detailed the state's unemployment rate at 4.3% with a 64% labor force participation rate. So what's next for Indiana's jobs market? Nikki Dementri takes a look at the forecast.
a very big economic disruption this year.
A year economist Michael Hicks says is far worse than the Great Recession.
We're really talking about an economic event that is more like the Great Depression, especially for workers at the lower third or lower half of the income category.
In 2020, the director of Center for Business and Economic Research at Ball State University says 550 to 600,000 jobs statewide were lost. It happened, he says, in three ways. Traditional loss of jobs, workers who left the labor force, particularly parents of school-age children, and then workers in industries that are sensitive in day-to-day demand.
I mean, I was months shy of being there for 4 years when ultimately, I mean, we had been working from home for a short while before they kind of downsized even further.
That was in mid-April, and then Linda Cummings started collecting unemployment. The Cicero Mama 4 says her former employer told her they would bring her back, but that was months ago.
Thousands of Hoosiers, as you mentioned, lost their jobs because of COVID. What is the outlook for the next year for those Hoosiers?
We expect this year the economy to recover. We think growth will exceed 2% in 2021. A lot of that is dependent upon the vaccination really catching up enough.
But that's not without a hit to some industries like the service sector. Hicks says, quote, automation of labor markets is far more likely in the coming months.
I would be unsurprised if as many as 20% of displaced workers, so that's 100,000 workers here in Indiana, probably half of those in central Indiana, are at risk of not having those jobs return after COVID.
Short term, he thinks labor markets will improve, but slowly. Events like March Madness will spark a demand in some of the hardest hit industries.
Finding a job that is worth having daycare for 4 kids in the middle of a pandemic is easier said than done.
As for Cummings, she says she can't go back to work until her kids are able to return fully back to the classroom.
With the state of things, the kids' different schedules, a potential, further shutdown, different strains, I'm starting to feel like we'll be lucky if I get to even have an opportunity to look for a job before the kids' next school year.
Working for you, Nikki Dementry, WRTV.
As for a long-term outlook, Hick fears it may be 3 to 5 years before fully recovering. He hopes low interest rates will create new positions and more people will explore post-secondary education opportunities to set themselves up for more stable jobs. Small businesses in our area continue to deal with the economic impact of the pandemic. Those inside the city market may be hit especially hard. WRTV's Megan Sanctorum explains why and is working to find out what's being done to support these small business owners.
Between the pandemic, safety concerns over this summer, and Market Street being closed for construction, vendors here at the city market have faced their fair share of challenges over the past year.
This isn't what the lunch hour used to look like inside City Market, as businesses now deal with a major drop in foot traffic.
It's been challenging.
Adam Ogard owns Poke Guru. He says right now, sales are down more than 60%.
It's very tough. It makes the outlook look bleak, but we, as a team, we just kept showing up every day and worked around it.
Meanwhile, the owner of the pantry tells us he's only getting 15 to 30 customers a day when he used to average around 100.
I don't know what to do, really.
This as more and more businesses close or move out of City Market.
We're not the only entity that has been affected by the pandemic. Hospitality and restaurants, worldwide have all kind of been sucked into this vortex of, stagnant sales and decreased foot traffic. So some of that was to be expected.
Keisha Gray is the executive director at City Market. She was hired back in November, and to reverse that trend, she says the City Market is working with a nonprofit called SCORE. They will provide free volunteer business mentors. She also says she will continue to research ways to ease the financial burden on these business owners.
All of the merchants had their rents paid through the last quarter of last year, and that was a big help to a lot of them in order to be able to stay open. And we are certainly researching other grant and funding opportunities so that we can do what we can do from our end.
As for Ogard, he recently opened a second Poke Guru location over at the garage in the new Bottleworks development on Mass Ave. He expanded his delivery service and hopes to keep both locations open.
Just had that optimistic viewpoint that this would one day turn around and that we could at least in some way or fashion start to get back to what we were used to doing.
When it comes to a long-term plan here at the city market,
couple of months on the job, we're not going to have a long-range plan that's 5 years out this soon, but that is definitely something that we're working on.
I just want to say that we are open and there's still lots of great businesses here that really need your support.
Working for you, Megan Sanctorum, WRTV.
The city market is also working to bring people in by opening on Valentine's Day, which is a Sunday this year. And this week they are giving away free March Madness masks to customers. Today, the Indiana Department of Health confirms 80 additional COVID-related deaths. 9,432 Hoosiers have now died with the coronavirus. The state also reports 1,777 additional cases of COVID-19. The daily number of cases has been declining recently. That's hopefully a good sign. In total, so far, 614,946 people in Indiana have tested positive for the coronavirus. And don't forget, anyone 70 and older, long-term care residents, first responders, and healthcare workers are eligible for the COVID vaccine in Indiana. You can register at ourshot.in.gov or call 211. We do know the next group that will be able to get vaccinated is anyone as young as 65 years old. But the state does not have a date yet for when that group can start getting vaccinated. Well, we've had a mix of wintry weather over the past 24 hours. It's cold enough for these geese to walk across a frozen pond and not fall through. But the ice is definitely not strong enough to handle humans, so don't even think about walking across any iced over body of water. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory is here. And what are you tracking right now? I know possibly some snow's in that forecast, Kevin.
Ta-da! There's my magic number. Should be an inch or less in the southern half of the state, Amanda. That's during the afternoon hours tomorrow primarily. We just got rid of one weather system. The next moves in during the afternoon hours tomorrow. Let me show you where the snow sits tonight. It's well to the west out into Kansas and Nebraska leaving Colorado. That is what will move our way and increase our chance for snow in the afternoon. Temperatures will be at freezing or a little colder. Leading to some accumulation. There we go in the morning hours. This is just updating 10 o'clock. You see some snow in southwest Indiana. There we are at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, starting to cut through most of the southern half of the state. I'll finish this timeline and we'll look at a second weather system to have an impact in my 7-day forecast.
New developments. The Marion County Prosecutor's Office announces it is seeking the death penalty against a man charged with killing Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department officer Brianne Leith. Elias Dorsey is accused of shooting and killing Leith on April 9th, 2020. That's when Leith and 3 other officers responded to a disturbance call at an apartment complex in the 1800 block of Edinburgh Square. When a fellow officer knocked on the door of the 3rd floor apartment, Dorsey allegedly opened through the door, striking Leith twice in the head and hitting another woman in the apartment. Leith died from her injuries while the other woman survived. Dorsey told police he thought someone was attempting to get to him, so he fired his gun when he heard a knock on the door. Again today, the Marion County Prosecutor's Office announced it will seek the death penalty against Dorsey. And Justin, tonight, Brianne Leith's mother spoke to our Rafael Sanchez, sharing her thoughts on the death penalty decision from the prosecutor's office.
Brianne deserves justice. I mean, she lost her life. And so I feel like, without trying to sound like a horrible person, he should have to give his.
And here's a portion of the statement IMPD released about the decision from the prosecutor's office. Quote, while many will focus on the person accused of this crime, the attention this announcement brings is an opportunity to again reflect on all that Officer Brianne Leith gave to her community in her all too short time with us. It is an opportunity to reflect on the sacrifices her family made and the loss they will forever feel so that people they will never meet could be safer. Some companies in central Indiana are banding together to help employees create their own road to success. How this works and what you may be able to learn from it. And new developments regarding the health of the newest Indiana pacer, Karis LeVert. What the team is revealing tonight, coming up in sports.
Visit GetStewart.com.
Welcome back. The Rebound Indiana is our commitment to help you get through this pandemic and thrive. Having someone cheer you on is never a bad thing. Tonight, our Rafael Sanchez shows us why several employers in Johnson County are coming together to create and share a success coach.
At Greenwood Village South, workers care for residents at this retirement community.
Our employees work night and day to care for our residents.
At Endres Hauser, production workers make several types of instrumentation. 2 sets of workers on different paths who will now be among those sharing a success coach.
We kept hearing from our businesses that we needed a way to help the workforce.
Is this about productivity? Is this about social work? Is this about success? Is it all the above?
They want to keep their engaged employees. It's a more human factor. And I think it's a differentiator for an employer if they have this additional benefit that's free of charge.
The Johnson County Community Foundation will oversee what's known as the Employer Resource Network. The network is made up of member companies which pay for the success coach to help in personal areas usually not covered by human resources, like connecting people to child care or finding solutions to a lack of transportation, issues which could impact the work life.
When they have those challenges in their home life, sometimes it bleeds into their performance at work. So we're hoping with the success coach that it will provide them that resource and help with their performance.
Get rid of the roadblocks that are in their way for, being able to focus at work or being successful at home. We want to offer our employees just the full benefits, anything that we can offer them to make life easier.
No matter where people work, the goal of this program is to put them on the road to personal and professional achievement.
Working for you, Rafael Sanchez, WRTV.
The foundation is currently looking to fill the coach position. The goal is to have the person in place by April 1st. A grant of nearly $700,000 is helping fund the program for the next 4 years. Kevin.
Well, this city profile immediately recognizable as you look from the Motor Speedway to downtown Indianapolis. Far left there, you can see it lit up the World War Memorial just a couple blocks north of downtown. Lots of clouds, but not much in the way of precipitation through the day today. We did have a few scattered showers just off to the east of the metro area here in the last few hours. Temperatures above freezing. We're not celebrating anything too warm, but 34 is 34, 33 in Martinsville, 32 in Zionsville. Statewide temperatures warmest down along the Ohio River in the 40s there, while it's 32 in Gary and Fort Wayne. Temperatures tonight, they'll drop into the 20s, and I think the next 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday, are the 2 coldest within the forecast. That sets the stage tomorrow with a 31-degree high for some light accumulating snow, mainly in the southern half of the state. The farther south you go, the better chance for light accumulating snow. Temperatures through the day staying below average with the snow developing in the afternoon hours. The timeline, 10 a.m., not much happening, lots of clouds, and snow by the time we get to 1 o'clock in the afternoon, starting to show up along Interstate 70, basically south of a Crawfordville to Indy to Greensburg line. As you see the darker blues, Bloomington, Nashville, Columbus, south. That'll be your best chance to pick up an inch of snow. It should be less than that as you come to the north. That will pull away as we go to Thursday and Friday, both days. With sunshine, temperatures will be in the 30s. They'll be stuck in the lower 30s, as you can see on Thursday. Saturday and Sunday, a stronger, more potent storm system arrives, bringing with it the threat for both rain and snow. Exactly how this will play out still to be determined, but that's what it looks like Saturday evening, starting as some snow, changing over to rain. How quickly that happens would determine whether we see much in the way of accumulation, and then also still to be determined will be the exact track of the storm system. That will be the next thing to watch after our light snow tomorrow. Temperatures, as you can see through the weekend, though, should make it above the freezing mark. Amanda.
Kevin, thank you. New developments on the health of new Pacers player Karis LeVert. Today, the Indiana Pacers announced that LeVert underwent successful surgery to treat renal cell carcinoma of his left kidney. The team says he is expected to make a full recovery and will not require further treatment. LeVert came to the Pacers from the Brooklyn Nets as part of a 4-team trade that also sent former Pacers All-Star Victor Oladipo to the Houston Rockets. Before the trade was finalized on January 16th, a team physical and medical test revealed the mass. LeVert has previously said the trade might have saved his life. The team says he is out indefinitely. And news out of IndyCar today. A fan favorite race car driver, James Hinchcliffe, will once again have a full season ride. Today, Andretti Autosport announced Hinchcliffe will drive the entire season for the team. Genesis will be the sponsor for 10 of his races. It is not yet clear what company will sponsor the other 7 races. Last year, Hinchcliffe only appeared in 6 races. Besides Hinchcliffe, Andretti Autosport's drivers for this upcoming season are Colton Herta, Alexander Rossi, and Ryan Hunter-Reay. Marco Andretti has scaled back his IndyCar schedule. As of right now, Marco has only confirmed that he is running in the Indianapolis 500. We'll be right back after this break.
Snow develops tomorrow afternoon, 31. Then we move to sunshine for Thursday and Friday. We'll see you at 7. Thanks for watching.